In my last video, I talked about how my schedule was pretty manic, especially in the mornings. My life was basically run by the clock. I gave myself 10 minutes from waking up to getting out the door. I think that's quite impressive. I got pretty good at getting up and ready in very good time. And I'll be honest, this first 10 minutes after waking up, I felt pretty horrendous. I was still half asleep and felt pretty dreadful both physically and mentally. I was moving around the house quickly to get ready, but feeling quite terrible whilst doing it. And this is because, as I talked about in my last video, I was generally just a bit sleep deprived. We trained late, I had school early in the morning, I just didn't have enough time to sleep. I then have about a 20-minute cycle to work in the morning, and this would really wake me up. I always felt too sleepy to really be ready for a podcast or some music. It kind of just felt a bit distracting and overwhelming, but that actually worked quite nicely because it meant that I have this really nice mindful cycle into work in the mornings. And by the time I got to work, 9 times out of 10, I felt a lot better and a lot more awake. Also, just for reference, 3 weeks into the season in Sweden, it is not normally snowing. I don't think it ever snows that early. I just filmed all the footage for this video about a year ago, so this has been a long time in the making. Once I got to school, I'd get changed and then ready for the day's work. I had lots of small 5 or 10 minute gaps here and there between lessons. I'd always try and fit my scouting for the weekend's game into these gaps because, as you'll see later in the video, when I got home, I did not have a huge amount of time for this sort of thing. I'll talk more in a future video about the scouting and what exactly I did. I really enjoy reading, so it's something I very much try to prioritize with how I manage my time. I got half an hour for a lunch break at work, so no matter what, I would always dedicate this time for reading, so that even if I didn't get any more time the rest of the day, I always felt like I'd had a good amount of time to enjoy some reading. I finished work on average about 3:15, so once I was changed and cycled home, I'd be back for about 3:45. Priority number one, as soon as I got home, was to have a nap. As I said, I was pretty reliably quite underslept, so I was doing everything I could to try and catch up for this and feel a bit better. I'm also very lucky because I know a lot of people struggle with napping, or they say they always feel worse when they have one. But for me, as long as I keep it under half an hour, I very reliably feel much better after I wake up. How I'd spend my time when home then? So we gymmed at 7:15, so I'd want to eat about 2 hours before then. So I tried to have dinner at about 5:30. That meant after I wake up from my nap until we eat tea, I have about an hour to myself to chill and do whatever I want to do. Sometimes we'd watch some telly with tea, sometimes we'd just sit at the table and chat. Either way, if you allow about half an hour for this, then have another half an hour after tea, and then that's it in terms of my time for the day for myself. Any of my hobbies like reading, learning Swedish, whatever. I get about an hour and a half, or call it 2 hours if you include the telly tea time a day. Maybe this is because I was too used to being a student and having so much spare time, but I personally didn't feel like an hour and a half for your hobbies and everything else you want to do is very long. So thankfully, one of the things I didn't have to do was worry about my food and my meals, because Meg, being both a chef and a bloody legend, would sort all of these things out for me. Then I do my prep before training. If you're curious about what I'm writing, then check out this video where I talk more about it. Then I get my stuff ready for training, hop on the bike, and off we go, about a 15-minute cycle to fit us off where we trained. I've talked about this part of the schedule before, but it'd be about an hour and 15 in the gym, 15 minutes in the locker room to talk about the session, and then train for an hour and a half. Then as soon as volleyball's done, the race is back on and I'm on the clock again. Need to get to bed as soon as possible. So I get changed, cycle home. Once I was back home, I'd shower, eat, use a massage gun if I needed to, debrief after the session, and then get to bed as soon as possible, ready to do it all again the next day. I've got to say, looking back at this, I do feel like it was pretty nuts quite how busy I was. A combination of the lack of sleep, obviously working hard, playing volleyball, something that's physically tiring, my job was quite tiring, and the general rushedness that I had all the time, especially in the mornings and the evenings, just a constant race against the clock, constantly watching the clock, battling the time, trying to suss out, okay, how long do I have to do this? Okay, I've got to get this done in 2 minutes. All added up to me being quite stressed, and I got ill quite a lot. I had to stay home from work quite a bit, much more than I ever used to get ill at any other time in my life. I think I was just run down. I also beat myself up a lot because I think, well, I'm here to do volleyball. I'm taking volleyball seriously. This is my single focus. My job is just a means of an end of me being able to play volleyball. And I've got 2 hours a day that I could be doing something with. My mobility sucks. Why aren't I spending half an hour of these 2 hours stretching and doing exercises to work on my mobility, or doing some more rehab for my knee, or spending more time scouting, or studying more volleyball? Why am I wasting my time reading and watching TV and talking to Meg and stuff? It's like, well, that's quite an unhealthy way to think. Like, I really needed those 2 hours to do something just to keep myself sane, to think, yeah, I'm learning a bit of Swedish. Yeah, I'm talking to my girlfriend. Like, yeah, I'm just spending time being a normal person. But now looking back, honestly, I'm just quite pleased and kind of proud of myself that I managed to keep going and train as much and work as hard as I did. I think even though I'm really glad that I did it and I've gotten to the stage that I have, I don't think it'd be sustainable. I couldn't do that sort of as a long-term career plan, to work more or less full-time in a school and then have, again, give or take, a professional volleyball training schedule in the evening on top of it as well. Something would have had to give. Anyway, so that's what my life looked like Monday to Thursday for the majority of the season. Fridays we did have off, which was a blessing. Anyway, that weekend we had our next home game. This game we had Falkenberg at home. They finished second in the regular season, so they're a strong team. We lost the first set and I came on in the second. I played okay whilst I was on. Didn't set the world on fire, but didn't play badly. Unfortunately, as you'll see in the moment, it was a rather short-lived affair. Fair to say though, as a team, we still hadn't really found our groove. We were quite unlucky with injuries, as our first two setter and our starting opposite were all out injured. Although that being said, Carl, our number 3 setter, really stepped up to the plate. Either way, we definitely weren't playing at the level I think we'd all hoped for, and I definitely performing like I'd hoped, but I'll talk more about that in a future video. Anyway, so this rally here in the third set, which was a rather good one, unfortunately marked the end of my innings in this game, so I'll shut up for a second and let you enjoy it. So when chasing this ball here, I unfortunately take an elbow to the side of the head, and I really thought I was going to stack it. You can see in the block I'm looking a bit wobbly. I've got quite an annoying habit of fainting when I don't feel well, and I really did feel very wibbly wobbly for the last few seconds at this point. I was fine in the end, but I needed to come off because I did think I was going to pass out. Not an ideal way for me to end the match. Unfortunately, the team, we weren't able to turn the game round, so we had another fairly decisive loss. All there was to do at this moment was keep working hard and looking forward.